A beautiful morning to you and welcome to yet another exciting edition of Sports Talk right here on Atlantic Television Network. Top on our menu this morning, Athletic Federation bans 21 athletes, coaches over age fraud. Amateur players stone top seed in Melbourne. Coming in from the world of football, Super Eagles exit the AFCON after defeat to Morocco. Details of this and many more will be yours after this short time out. All right, you're welcome back from that short break. Kingsley is here this morning as we take a look at some of this interesting topic this morning. Kingsley, good morning and welcome to Sport Talk.
Yeah, Mike, thank you very much. I'm very happy. I'm happy to be here this morning, but I have to be happy. I think what happened yesterday in Morocco is what we should be used to at this point in time. We've been watching the Super Eagles of Nigeria for years now. So when things like this happen, that they find it difficult or couldn't win a game, maybe to get down to the final or whatever, I think it's something we should be used to. It is what it is, game of football, but thank God we're here this morning to be able to look at what really happened, what's the way forward for the Super Eagles. Nice to be here, Mike.
All right, nice to be here. We must find a way to find happiness despite the host of the Super Eagles. But before we talk about the Super Eagles, let's take a look at some of the interesting gist popping up from the world of athletics because the Athletic Federation of Nigeria has imposed a wide range of sanctions on athletes, coaches, and two state athletics associations following the conclusion of a special investigation into age falsification involving competitors at the 2025 African Under-18 and Under-20 Championship held in Abeokuta. A panel constituted on December 9, 2025 was set up to examine allegations of age discrepancies among young Nigerian athletes flagged by the Athletic Integrity Unit of World Athletics on December 2nd, 2025. Kingsley, when the AIU raised the alarm that some Nigerian athletes were found culpable of age discrepancies, the AFN made a threat that this year wasn't going to be business as usual, as they threatened that coaches, athletes, athletic federation associations from different regions and states will be held liable and severe sanction and punishment will follow suit if any of these persons find wanting in the issue of age cheating. Now, the Athletic Federation of Nigeria, they've actually carried out their threat, dishing out different sanctions to
see how they can curb the issue of age cheating. But it has not been working. But now they've entered into partnership with a database company that will be keeping records, of these athletes. I think for me to go a long way, and you take a look at it that as it stands now, if you're an athlete in Nigeria, your information will be online, all right? Your age, everything about you, the tournament you participated, all right, will be online. So that whenever maybe they want to assess that athlete, you can simply go online, type that athlete name, you see the person's age and everything about the person. So you could take a look at the move that the Athletic Federation of Nigeria are taking now. They will not tolerate anything of age cheating, and anybody being found wanting at this point in time is really going to face massive punishment. And I think that's what they are doing now, because if they don't take action, the Athletic Integrity would think they are the one even encouraging all of this, and at the end of the day, the hammer might fall on them, and it should be very severe. So I think I love the approach this year from what the Athletic Federation, there have been a lot of criticism on him as the president of the federation, not doing his job, properly and all of that. But I think this year he has decided, of course, to step things up. And I just hope that, with this move, the issue of age cheating will be curbed when it comes to athletics in the country.
All right. Meanwhile, Kingsley, tomorrow being, all right, just few days as we speak right now, just 2 days rather before the ultimatum that was given by the Athletic Integrity Unit to Nigerian Athletic Federation to come defend themselves after the allegation that they fielded, overage athletes, and this prompted the Athletic Federation of Nigeria to wade into action to set up panel, and a few persons have been found culpable. With this, what does it say for the Nigerian Athletic Federation? Because just 2 days that they were given, to come and tender their defense, right? They've set out their panel, discovered that some person actually falsify their age. I mean, what will the Athletic Federation of Nigeria tell the AIU? Because it is very obvious that it is true. They've discovered that some Nigerian athletes, had some age discrepancy. Now that it is so, do you think that we are going to face any sanction from the Athletic Integrity Unit?
I think at this point in time, the Athletic Federation of Nigeria might not face any sanction because first,
and now that a few persons have been, convicted by the Nigerian Athletic Federation, I just hope that this will take off the hook away from, the Athletic Federation, so that the said individuals will pay for this particular one. Let's leave the world of athletics and talk tennis on the show this morning, because Emma Raducanu claimed her first victory of the season as she completed a straight set win over Camila Osorio after their match at the Hobart International was suspended because of rain. The British 23-year-old had won the first set, but trailed the Colombian 4-2 in the second when play ended early on Tuesday. However, she overturned that break deficit on her return on Wednesday and let out a roar of delight after securing a 6-3, 7-6 win. Top seed Raducanu avoided having to play 2 matches on the same day after a second-round opponent, Magdalene French, withdrew with injury. Instead, the former US Open champion went on to quarterfinals against the Australian wildcard at Princeton today. Emma Raducanu, he was down at some point, but then after the game, she came back to reclaim back her victory. First win of the year. Massive preparation ahead of the Australian Open, you want to say?
Massive indeed to say at this point in time for Emma Raducanu. We look forward to see what she brings to the table this year. You know how the season has been, how it has been for Emma Raducanu. It's been a very huge struggle upon struggle, for her injury issue, and of course I was seeing what it has been in terms of our relationship, of course, with her manager. And I think for me, this is a new year for her. Starting on the winning notes, it's a very good impression for her, come this season. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed and just hope that, this season will be a different one, for Emma Raducanu. We hope that she's going to try to see how to rekindle back, strength, to make sure that she gets something huge. This because we still have the top players down there, the likes of Emma, the likes of Arena Sabalenka, you talk about golf, the likes of Iga Swiatek as well. So I think if she want to get to the top, it means she really have to work hard and try to be consistent, of course, with her performance. And I think that's what will take her to the top this season.
All right, incredible display from Emma Raducanu, coming back from set down to get that one over her opponent. And what a sign of a good thing to come for her this year, as the Australian Open is just by the corner, less than 4 days, yes, 3 days to be precise, because it kicks off on the 18th of this month. So a great shape-up for Emma Raducanu ahead of the big one. Still talking tennis on the show this morning, amateur player Jordan Smith would have been happy winning just 1 point, but walked away with $1 million, equivalent of 496,835 pounds, and bragging rights over world number 2 Yannick Sinner as she triumphed at the Australian Opens. $1 million 1 point slam. The innovative format offered the amateur players the opportunity to win the prize money by playing a sole point against some of the sport top talents and other famous faces. Smith was the star of the show on road Lavia Arena, also defeating women's world number 4 Amanda Anasimova in front of almost 15,000 people. Smith faced the women's world number 117 Jonah Gallant in 15th final after the Taiwanese 24-year-old stunned the women's world number 3 Alexander Zverev and former Wimbledon finalist Nick Kyrgios. All right, moving on to the world of NBA, there are some results that came through early hours of this morning as Indiana Pacers were beaten at home by Toronto Raptors 115 to 109. Philadelphia 76ers also were beaten at home by Cleveland Cavaliers 133 to 107. Chicago Bulls got a better of Utah Jazz 128 to 126. New Orleans Pelicans also got a better of Brooklyn Nets 116 to 113. Dallas Mavericks lost at home to Denver Nuggets 118 to 109. Sacramento Kings game were yet to be concluded. We just tried to see what happened, whether the game was postponed in that particular one. But Kingsley, the NBA is getting heated, and some big teams are continuing to show some strength so far this season. The likes of the Detroit Pistons, they've been doing very great. Indiana Pacers, not at their peak, but then teams like Oklahoma City Thunder, they continue to do an impressive job. What do you make of the NBA thus far, almost half of the season?
Yeah, of course. I think for me it's been an impressive one. And you talk about Detroit Pistons. Is one team no one thought we're going to get something huge this time around. But if you take a look at it in the Eastern Conference, they're topping the table, right there ahead of the likes of New York Knicks. You talk about the Boston Celtics, Philadelphia 76ers, Toronto Raptors, and I think for me, it's actually a surprising one for me. It's been a long time I saw Detroit Pistons, having a dominant display, in the Eastern Conference, and it's something very, very huge, at this point in time. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and see what comes up. So far, so good. Detroit Pistons, of course, they've recorded, 28 wins and 10 losses, in their encounter. And I think for me, it's a very good record when you compare it to what we've seen from New York Knicks, who have also gotten 35 wins and 15 losses so far in their encounter, seated second in that conference. So it's really, really an impressive one. You take a look at the Western Conference as well, where Oklahoma City Thunder, like you mentioned, sitting very comfortable at the top of the conference with 34 wins and just 7 losses so far this season. I think for me, really, really an impressive one. We'll just keep our fingers crossed and see if they can continue this momentum, because if we look at it, I think Oklahoma City Thunder, they really been dominant, in that conference, because even Denver Nuggets that are second as well, they don't even have the record, or maybe they are not even closer to the record of Oklahoma City Thunder so far this season. Denver Nuggets 38 wins and 13 losses, we've seen from them. So you could see the difference. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed. We understand there's a whole lot more to play for the season. We'll see if maybe Detroit Pistons, the likes of Oklahoma City Thunder, New York Knicks, will of course, fight. We'll see how they fight, to the very end of this one.
All right, great one as the NBA is getting heated. But Kingsley, I'm particular about Indiana Pacers. They've been so disappointing so far this season. They are rock bottom of their conference out there, coming up against the Toronto Raptors that are seated fourth in the Western Conference as well. They were beaten yet at home. No sign of improvement at all, as the likes of their key players, Isaiah and the rest of them, failed to live up to the billing. This season has been very difficult for, Indiana Pacers. What do you make of their season thus far?
A struggling one. They've only managed to win 9 games and lost 32. So it's a very, very poor one so far for Indiana Pacers. And I think Indiana, they've just been trying to stay afloat and see how they can compete, very high. Even if you take a look at it in the last 3 seasons, that's what, of course, I was seeing in for Indiana Pacers. So this season, it became very worse. That they find it even difficult to see how to beat, some of their opponents. Just imagine recording 9 wins so far, in this season and having about 32 losses. It's a very, very poor record, for Indiana Pacers. And if you look at it, I don't think they might even have an edge or for maybe qualifying, to the next round for the game from what we're seeing, because it's really, really been, a poor one. And no thanks to injury for some of the players, and as well, take a look at the team as well. Some of the players not also living up to expectations. So I think this could be some of the reasons why we've not really seen the best of play for the Indiana Pacers.
All right, we'll just hope that Indiana Pacers can be able to rediscover their form, because it's been a terrible season for them. The likes of Jackson, Isaiah, Jackson, Quinton, and the rest of them not putting up an impressive outing. No outstanding player for the Pacers so far this season that you can truly point out and say this one has been very exceptional. And the coach has complained about the level of the qualities within his rank. We just hope that they can find their way back into form, as the NBA is getting heated already. At this point, we'll take a quick break. When we are back in the second half, we'll service some of the big G's, as the Super Eagles came to abrupt end, talking about their quest for the AFCON title. And moving over to Europe, Chelsea were dealt a blow last night by Arsenal Football Club. All these and many more will form the bulk of our conversation when we are back from this short break. Don't go anywhere. All right, you're welcome back from that short break. Still on to Sport Talk right here on Atlantic Television Network. And I'm Emmanuel Michael Kingsley. Emmanuel is still here, and together we are bringing you up to speed with the latest happenings in the world of sport. In the first half of the show, we told you how the Athletic Federation of Nigeria have indicted coaches and players who were found culpable for age discrepancies. And in the world of tennis, we told you that some big-name players as well are preparing massively at the Melbourne ahead of the big one, which comes up on the 18th of this month, talking about the Australian Open. It is time for we to talk football on the show because Remo Stars has turned returned to winning ways at the Remo Stars Stadium in Ikenne on Wednesday night, edging past Ikorodu City 1-0 in a fiercely contested Southwest derby, as Shooting Stars delivered a commanding 3-0 home victory over Enyimba in Ibadan. The start of the second leg came after a 16-day mid-season break dominated by off-pitch tensions stemming from on-field disagreements in the reverse fixture, which saw Ikorodu City claim a 1-0 victory in Lagos in late December. Kingsley, Remo Stars back to winning ways after some couple of time. Currently, they are seated 13th on the log with 25 points after 20 games played. Do you see them finishing among top 4 this season?
I don't think so. I don't think, but it can still happen because I think we still have about 17 games, to be played this season, and it's going to be they are back to their main stadium, of course, in Ikenne, and I think for me, that would be a morale booster for the players to see how to step up their performance, looking at the fact that they are playing at home, that comfort, is there, and I think that's the reason why they were able to rally around to get that result, yesterday. If you take a look at it, they were before that game, they were very, very close, to relegation zone, and of course they knew that getting a win against Ikorodu City, who have been very fantastic as well so far this season, is a must, for them to keep their feet, up in this in the Nigerian Premier Football League this season, and that's for me was a very impressive one. We look forward to see how they can build, from there. It's not been an easy one. Looking at the fact that their coach Daniel Gumodede has been shoveling between the Super Eagles job and as well as his job down there with Remo Stars. So we'll see how they're going to put the season together. The defending champion, and you should be talking about Remo Stars, maybe contending for the title once again, but this is where they are. So I just hope that they will be able to put things right and see how to build from this particular one.
Meanwhile, another result that came through in the Nigerian Premier Football League yesterday saw Academy Warriors got a bit of Bayelsa United 1-0. Barau FC beat Niger Tornadoes 2-1, while Abia Warriors were held at home 1-1 against Plateau United. Enugu Rangers also played zeros against Rivers United. Kwara United lost at home to Bendel Insurance 1-0, while Nasarawa United also were beaten at home by Kano Pillars 1-0. Shooting Stars, yes, like we told you, beat Enyimba 3-1. Wiki Tories lost at home to Warri Wolves 1-0. Meanwhile, today's fixtures will see Katsina United, yes, trade tackles against Kun Khalifat FC. Kingsley Rivers United went away from home to pick a vital point, and they are currently topping the league table with 38 points after 20 games played. Just 4 points away from the second place team, talking about Abia Warriors. With the way things are going, 18 games to go, do you think that Rivers United could just smile this year by lifting the trophy?
I think that if you look at it, they're very close, going away to pick, to put up a very impressive performance as well. I think for me, it's a huge statement of intent, for Rivers United, from what we've seen, at this point in time. I think feeling the judges at it again in trying to see how to win, of course, another title for himself after getting to win the league at Enyimba Football Club. I think he might possibly do it again with Rivers, United. And I think for me, this is a season Philly the Judge can do it, looking at the fact that the likes of Remo Stars and not, of course, in a very good form. You talk about Aimba Football Club, not also in a very good form at this point. So I think it is a very good time Rivers United, try as much as they can to see how to clinch the title once again.
All right, meanwhile, in the basement team, we have, talking about the relegation battle, we have Kun Khalifat, Plateau United, and Kano Pillars rocking the bottom table out there. Out of these three teams, Kingsley, which of these three do you think will survive relegation this season? Kano Pillars seated 18, Plateau United seated 19, and Kun Khalifat rock 20th position. Out of these three teams, which of them do you think might just possibly survive relegation this season?
Plateau United in my schedule, don't forget they just got a new manager, Binga Gumboti, and the reason why he was brought in is to help them survive relegation at this point. So I think getting a new manager might be a thing of motivation for the team as well as the players to see how they can strengthen teams, going forward. For Kun Khalifat, I think for them it's really been a worrisome one because they've been struggling, and you know what it takes, for a private team to be in the Nigerian Premier Football League. If you don't have the, enormous resources, you struggle at this point in time. I think Kun Khalifat, if you look at it, they've not been able to get the best of legs. They've just tried to see how they can use some of the players that help them qualify from the Nigerian National League, to see how to execute this one. So it's becoming becoming a bit difficult for them to try to put things, right, from what we've seen, at this point in time. So you also talk about the inexperience of the team in the Nigerian Premier Football League, also one of the reasons why they are struggling at this point in time. So for me, I think Plateau United, they really stand a chance. For Kano Pillars, things have not really been well for them. I think the other day we hear that they sack about 2 of their players, and all of that. So I don't think Kano Pillars, with the whole issue going on with them, they have what it takes, to survive relegation. It would be a very disappointing one, especially under the affairs of Ahmed Musa, that Kano Pillars have been relegated. So I just also hope that they look for a way to rally around and they see how they can, of course, survive relegation as well this season. But I really have hope that Plateau United will find a way out from this one.
Hopefully, Plateau United can find a way out of this very worrisome position they find themselves in the Nigerian Premier Football League. Enough of the local football gist. Let's head straight to the African Cup of Nations, because the Super Eagles' quest for a 4th continental title at the 2025 African Cup of Nations in Morocco came to an end on Wednesday night after a 4-2 penalty shootout defeat to host at the Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium in Rabat, Morocco. Despite struggling for a large spell of the initial 90 minutes, which ended goalless, Nigeria managed to stretch the host into extra time before heading into a penalty shootout, where 2 missed kick proved decisive, with Captain Wilfred Ndidi suspended for the semi-final due to accumulated yellow cards in the round of 16 and quarterfinals. Eric Chell handed Rafael Onyedika a second start, while the rest of the team from the quarterfinal win over Algeria maintained their positions. Unlike the previous outing, Chelsea men failed to settle from the blast of the whistle, struggling to keep possessions and contain hosts in front of a packed stadium. For Nigeria, they are side with the most bronze medals at the AFCON, having won 8, and they will now face Egypt in the third place match come Sunday. Kingsley, a whole lot of talking points emanating from the last night clash between the Super Eagles and the host Morocco. First off, before we head into the match proper, do you think that it was a mistake for Eric Chell to more like change the formation a bit and made the players to sit deep and play low block against the host?
I think something prompted that decision, looking at the fact that one of the integral member of the midfield, that's Wilfred Didi, of course, was out in that particular one due to the yellow card. He got in the game against Algeria. That's why Richel decided to, twist things, trying to see how he can sit deep a bit because you take a look at what Wilfred Didi has been doing in the midfield, bringing calm and composure, and giving the Super Eagles of Nigeria strength. Whenever you're in a game, when in a team, when the midfield is good enough, of course, you see the players, you see the team, performing very well, and the attackers, getting the ball. But Wilfred Didi not being there, and Frank Onyedika wasn't able, of course, was not a man that you think, of course, will be able to do or replicate that performance, seen from Wilfred Didi, and that's why Eric Chell has to sit deep, in that encounter. But then if you look at it, I think you won't really say it was really a bad decision for me. That's my opinion, at this point in time, because at least you could see the pressure, coming from the Moroccans. They were everywhere. Everything went to their favor, even the officiating. You take a look at the number of fans, in the stadium. You could feel some level of intimidation on the side of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So I think what he had to do was to see how maybe to sit back a bit and absorb the pressure and see if maybe they can get opportunity in front. But we couldn't really see that as a stand. So for me, I think probably that's really what prompted that decision from Eric Chell. If we have maybe played the normal formation and forcing the attack and pressing hard, we never can tell what might really happen, because if you look at it, somehow we were a bit weak in the midfield, and I think it was even the defenders that were able to see how to conserve the game for the Super Eagles.
Still talking about the tweaking of the formation, Alex Iwobi was taken off his natural position where we've seen him flourish at the ongoing African Cup of Nations. He was forced to play deep, and some of those line-breaking passes was not coming through. Do you want to blame the coach for, allowing Alex Iwobi, that have been one of the best passer of the ball in this AFCON, to sit deep in the midfield instead of advancing forward to play that free role where he can have the luxury of time to send some of those line-breaking passes?
No two games are alike, the game against Morocco, for me, I think, was a very huge encounter. Like I mentioned, talking about that midfield as well, the absence of Wilfred Didi really changed things. Really changed things, of course, in that game. And that's why the midfielders were a little bit forced to sit deep. The midfielders we had on the day were not that, formidable enough for you to say, okay, we can force the attack. For me, all right, Onyedika was not really prolific. You saw him not even, he was not even able to make use of the ball whenever it gets to him. All right, so in such a situation, you want to go upward and see how you can maybe throw the passes. You never can tell. So for me, I think Eric Chell, for me, the absence of Wilfred Didi really prompted that decision for him to tell the midfielders to sit back a bit and try to see how to absorb the pressure from the Moroccans.
All right, more of reaction will come your way in the evening, where we'll have more time to properly dissect the game between the Super Eagles and the host Morocco yesterday. I'll try to point out some of those key areas. You talk about Samuel Chukweze's penalty miss and that of Bruno Onyempechi. We'll take our time to, dig into the Super Eagles Ulster from the AFCON. But Kingsley, before we leave the Super Eagles, is there any positive that we should take home from the game against Morocco?
Yes, I think a whole lot of positive at this point in time, especially on the side of Eric Chell. I know some persons might want to fault him, oh, you did this, you did that, but I think Eric Chell has done a good job, with the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and it's left for the Nigerian Football Federation, to put up a good decision, because even as it stands now, just like we talked about the other day, so many countries looking for his services, at this point. So first thing first, we should look at the good football Eric Chell has brought, to the Super Eagles of Nigeria, making the team, this, formidable. Yes, they didn't have a good game to say yesterday, but when you take a look at what Eric Chell has done with this team, you will say there is a brighter future with the Super Eagles of Nigeria if, of course, he continues as the coach.
All right, moving on, because of a time factor, we can tell you that Arsenal beat Chelsea Football Club in the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg clash at Stamford Bridge last night, despite having a new coach. Chelsea has found it very difficult to, get a victory against Arsenal in a couple of years right now, and they fell yet again to the firepower of the Gunners at home. In the evening, we'll have more time to take a look at all of these and many more, because we are actually running out of time. Kingsley, before we leave, any parting words?
Yes, we wish Morocco the very best. It's as if the competition is just going to their favor. And they're going to meet Senegal, and we'll see what comes up this time around, if maybe they're going to come up with another level of play or whatever. But we wish them the very best. I think they've been formidable, consistent so far in the competition. But let's see if maybe Senegal will give them the way, and for them to win the African Cup of Nations after about 50 years.
All right, talking about Senegal, just in case you don't know, Senegal beat Egypt 1-0, courtesy of a solo striker from Sadio Mane, to progress to the final of the AFCON, where they will be facing the host, Morocco, come Sunday. All right, this is where we are tempted to drop the anchor for this morning edition of the show. Do well to join us in the evening, 6 to 7 p.m., when we make a return to bring you up to speed with the latest happenings in the world of sport. I did a show this morning alongside Kingsley Emmanuel. My name is Emmanuel Michael, the Prime Minister of the Airwaves, and we are saying have a good day ahead.